Picture this. It's 50,000 years ago. There are no courts, no judges, no lawyers sending you a bill you can't even read, no prisons, no cops, no little violation notice taped to your door while you are out. Nothing. No official system of any kind that handles justice. And then it happens. Someone in your group steals your food, or they smack around someone weaker for no reason, or they keep grabbing more than their share at every single meal while everyone else just sits there, quietly furious, saying nothing. Or maybe someone starts acting scary, unpredictable, violent, the kind of person who walks in and the whole mood shifts. Everybody's tense. Everybody's watching. So what do you do? Here's the thing. This isn't some fun thought experiment to make you grateful for modern life. This was a real, daily, life or death problem our ancestors faced for hundreds of thousands of years. And they solved it. Not with stone tablets, not with written laws, not with anything you'd call a legal system today. They solved it with something older, smarter, more flexible, and honestly, in some ways, way more fair than what came after. Because here's what almost nobody tells you. The urge to punish, that's not something civilization invented. Justice wasn't born in cities with kings and stone pillars. It was already running, and running well, in tiny groups of hunter-gatherers, long before any of that. Humans were building justice systems before they built walls. So let's break down exactly how it worked. And then what happened when civilization showed up and decided to make it official. First, you've got to understand their world, because the world changes everything about how punishment worked. These groups were small, really small, usually 20 to 50 people, always on the move, and everybody knew everybody. You couldn't hide. You couldn't be a saint in one part of town and a monster in another, because there was no other part of town. The group was your entire world, and it was watching, always. In a group that size, nothing stays secret. Everything gets out, through watching, through living close together, and through the oldest information network on Earth, gossip. We'll get to that. Now here's what really matters. Your reputation wasn't just nice to have. It was survival. Literally. Your food, your allies, your protection when you got sick or hurt, your chances of having kids, all of it came from your standing in the group. Wreck your reputation, and you didn't just lose status. You lost everything. Because out there, alone, surrounded by predators with no safety net, the group was the only thing standing between you and death. That's the foundation. Not law, not force, just this. Everyone needed everyone, and everyone knew it. Now, an anthropologist named Christopher Bohm studied hunter-gatherer societies all over the world for decades. And what he found was surprising. These groups weren't chaos. They weren't every man for himself. They were fiercely equal, on purpose. And they kept it that way with a clever step-by-step system, with 0 written rules and 0 bosses. Bohm called it the reverse dominance hierarchy. Think about it. In most animal groups, chimps, gorillas, baboons, the strong rule the weak. The alpha takes the best food, the best mates. Power flows down. Hunter-gatherers flipped it completely. Here, the group ruled the individual. If anyone started grabbing too much food, too much status, too much control, the group closed ranks. With some official trial, with pressure, steady rising pressure that started gentle and got harder until the problem stopped or the person did. And it happened in stages, clear ones, showing up in cultures that never even met each other. Stage 1, gossip. Don't roll your eyes. Gossip was doing serious work here. When someone acted out, hoarding, bullying, cheating on the sharing, coasting while everyone else did the work, people started talking, not to their face, to each other, building agreement. Yeah, this is a problem. So that when action finally came, it came with the whole group behind it, not just one person pointing a finger. And you know what? The troublemaker usually felt it. In a group of 30, you notice. Conversations go quiet when you walk up. The sharing feels a little colder. People look at you differently.
And a lot of the time, that alone fixed it. They straightened up because they knew what came next. That's deterrence with no rule book. But if gossip didn't work, stage 2, public call-outs. Straight up ridicule right in front of everyone. And in a tiny group, that stung. Being mocked openly wasn't a bad afternoon. It was a message. The group's goodwill? Suspended. Fix yourself. Bohm found this everywhere. The Inuit in the Arctic, groups in southern Africa, Aboriginal Australians, all of them mocking the hoarders, the bullies, the ones who tried to run the show. There's even a name for a version of this, leveling mechanisms. Here's a wild example. A great hunter makes a huge kill. Does he brag? He better not. If he strolls in going, "Look what I did, look how amazing I am," he gets mocked. The food gets shared, sure, everyone eats, but the credit, that belongs to everyone. And if he pushes back, the group pushes harder, because to them, this wasn't about a kill, it was about power, and letting one guy grab too much power, that was a threat to everybody. Still not working? Stage 3. Ostracism. And this one got serious. In a modern city, getting shunned hurts. But you survive. You move. You find new friends. There are millions of people you haven't met. Out there, in a band of 30 with the nearest other humans weeks away, getting cut off wasn't a punishment. It was a death sentence on a delay. And nobody had to lay a finger on you. You couldn't hunt as well alone. You couldn't sleep safe without others watching for predators. You couldn't handle a big kill or an injury or a sickness or a baby. Group life made all of that possible. Alone? Nearly impossible. And it came in degrees. First, the sharing quietly dries up. Allies get busy. The warmth cools. Small stuff, but real. And if it kept going, in a group that moves all the time, they had the ultimate option. They just packed up and left, without you. And if nothing worked, stage 4, execution. I know, it's startling, but it's one of the most documented findings out there. When someone had done something terrible and had blown through every warning, every stage, the group reached a decision together to kill them. Not a chief, not one angry person, the whole adult community agreeing. And then a few people carried it out on behalf of everyone. And that together part, that was the whole point. One person killing another, that's murder, and they'd get treated like it. But the whole group deciding, that was different. That was survival. Nobody carried the weight alone. And what triggered it was always consistent. Repeated, serious violence. Killing inside the group. Predators who wouldn't stop, no matter how many chances they got. It was never one heated mistake. It was always a pattern. Warned, mocked, pushed out, and still they kept going. And look, this is a justice system, not a rough draft of one, a real one. It's got proportionality, small crimes, small consequences. It's got process, nobody jumps straight to the end. It's got consensus, no one decides alone. And it's got purpose, not revenge, but keeping everyone safe. Now fast forward a few thousand years. Here's where it gets interesting. When humans settled down, built cities, built states, justice didn't just get better, it got bigger, it got written down, and it added something the old system had worked hard to prevent. The oldest law code we've found is the Code of Ur-Nammu from ancient Sumer over 4,000 years ago. And get this, for injuries, it mostly used fines. Knock out an eye? Pay silver. The idea was to make the victim whole. Pretty measured, honestly, but that didn't last. Around 1750 BCE, a Babylonian king named Hammurabi carved 282 laws into a giant black pillar, and he swung hard toward a new idea, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And here's the part that really matters. His code baked in class. Knock out a free man's eye, you lose yours. Knock out a slave's eye, just pay a fine. Same injury, totally different justice, based on who you were. That was new, and those old hunter-gatherers, they'd have recognized it instantly as exactly the thing they'd spent forever fighting against. So here's what it all adds up to, and it's worth sitting with. That old system, gossip, ridicule, exclusion, and the group deciding together, wasn't some crude early version of law. In a lot of ways, it was more advanced than the codes that replaced it. It had real fairness built in. It had steps, and nobody was above it. Being stronger or richer or more charismatic bought you nothing. If anything, it made the group watch you harder. Writing laws down brought huge benefits. Fairness at scale, protection from tyrants, order for millions. But it also wrote inequality right into justice itself. The exact thing the old way fought against. That ancient human, standing in judgment over a bully who wouldn't stop, no courtroom, no gavel, no fancy words. But they had the one thing every court ever since has been chasing. A whole community that actually cared about getting it right. Everything else, the codes, the courts, the stone pillars, the lawyers, that was just infrastructure.